There we go. It's been a while. Welcome to Section 31, episode number 247. I'm Dan Hammond.
And I am Rogue Schindler.
This week we are back because interesting things have appeared on the website. And yeah, we still haven't had any local events. We're getting together this weekend for some scrapbooking. We're going to put together some cards, tournament promos. I'm hoping we get to put together a lot of tribbles because we're fresh out. But it looks like there will be something to put together in the future. Many folks have seen the teasers on the main page. Which one did you see first? Because there's two.
Well, I was looking something up actually at your place to make sure that I had the right thing, and opened the page on my phone, and all I saw was this hourglass-looking icon with a Starfleet symbol in the middle, and it said, "New edition introduces fresh starting point, streamlines gameplay."
Yeah.
So clearly, we are now advertising for third edition of the Star Trek CCG.
And really, can you say, isn't that going to be entertaining?
Well, given my current opinion of second edition, yeah, I'm absolutely all for it.
So, how long did first edition have its run before? I think we talked about this before. First edition had its run of 10 years. Was it 10 years?
Yeah, almost 10 years.
Okay.
It was 2003, or the December 2002.
Okay. Right. So
second edition came out. So
2000. So
8-9 years.
Right. And so it's been more years than that since second edition came out. Second edition 2002, 14. So that's been 12 years. So calendar says it's about time for a third edition. What wow, what do you look forward to?
Well, I feel like that there was always that swing between 1E and 2E of recreationist play versus over-conceptualization.
Okay.
And 2E was again very streamlined down to conceptualize. Okay, you don't have to go. There's no space line. There's no. You don't have to go over there and get this and bring it back here. It's all, made into. I don't know. I'm trying to I'm oversimplifying something, which is kind of what happened with 2E, or at least that's what a lot of people said. Certainly relative to 1E, which was kind of the other end of the spectrum. I kind of feel like we lost something, though, in that consolidation of concepts and mechanics.
Yeah.
Part of the interesting thing about 1E was each time a new set came out, there was, a new facet that was introduced.
Yes, and the ability to recreate any episode, from minutia of people beaming down and, finishing this objective and stealing a cloaking device and moving over here and doing all this stuff. That was something that certainly didn't translate because, you wanted it to be streamlined and easy to follow and not ridiculously complex. I think first edition, wallows happily in the quote-unquote ridiculously complex. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. And, when they got to the point where, things were a little out of control, then they introduced mechanics to rein that in. And I think that was a much better, aside from, I certainly in the continuing command era, I definitely am all for, cutting out the chaff and keeping the lean. And I think 1E has definitely benefited from that. I think even more than introducing the streamlinedness of second edition. Now, how that translates into a third edition is I find curious. Now, this quote says streamlined. I don't know if TUI can get any more streamlined. Uh,
No, I
you
mean
know,
you've taken away all the affiliation restrictions. You've taken away all the battle restrictions. You've taken away, most of the built-in keywords on cards like tractor beam and random stuff like that. What else do you take away?
yeah, the only way I can see this getting any more streamlined is if it like lops it down to one of those like Young Jedi, Watsy Yahtzee Star Wars type of I play my guy, you play your guy, we're at this non-specific arena location and we fight.
Well, there are an awful lot of people in the continuing committee have small children, so maybe that's a new direction.
Little start. Is this going to be Star Trek Academy?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the interesting thing that I have to immediately go to is if this is a third edition. I mean, this seems like the first time that a game of this sort would be put out by a players committee carrying the torch onward, and being beyond the realm of the business model of selling collectible cards. Carrying through with this, does it continue to be single set virtual printable cards with limited quantities, or do they transition to what has become the very popular living game concept? I mean,
How,
that's almost what we are in right now. Here's your one set. That's all there is.
have you played Hearthstone at all? I've heard a lot of things about it, but I have not.
Actually, yes. As luck would have it, I just started playing this past weekend.
How do they deal with new cards?
I haven't really gotten that far, so I don't know if they introduce new cards as they go. I'm assuming they would have to, but um, so far, um, I have not encountered anything in the way of expansions or packs. Like the packs that I have acquired thus far have just been packs. They haven't been labeled Premier or anything else. I have seen one thing advertised that was sort of a scenario, it looked like, or maybe an adventure path, not to steal a term from the other thing that we've been talking a lot about, but it looked like there was another thing that you could buy and go and play in that. So I don't know if that is a new set of cards, a new fixed set of cards that you can play through, and that looked like it was a flat fee, and you go in and you play through it. So I don't know if you use your existing deck to try to defeat new cards and acquire those, or if you just go in and you get a set that way and do it.
Well, there's any number of paradigms they can choose. I mean, do they make a new set that's a huge base set? Because when second edition came out, way back in the day, there was a lot of surveying that was directed at the players, directed at collectors. Which is your favorite series? Which is your favorite, crew? What's your favorite stories? Do you like, movies? Whatnot? And I feel like back in back at that time period, DS9 was the most popular. It got a lot of votes, and that's what we ended up with. Three headquarters for the DS9, kind of faction. We got Bajor, DS9 itself, and DS9 Earth. But at the same time, you could play, TNG, and it came out with Nemesis at the time to try to tie into that. There's really not much to tie into right now, and some of the more popular affiliations right now. What with a reboot, it would be the TOS affiliations, and those didn't come out until much later. It'd be interesting to see what's targeted first, right?
It would be interesting to see if some agreement has been reached in the way of non-profit, or we're not selling anything. This is a continuing fan base, leave us alone agreement with Paramount that would allow us to go ahead and breach that as of yet undiscovered country of reboot cards. I know that's something that I've been excited about.
Yeah, I know that there are a number of shows that are being produced now that are in the TOS time frame. So that are getting uh, some praise because they're awesome, and not exactly not even turning a blind eye, from Paramount. Just enjoy, go ahead. But
Sure.
again, since they're not playing in the reboot time era, they seem to be okay.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any, there's not any recreation or redistributing of, Chris Pine's face or Zachary Quinto or anything like that. It's all, you know, we are pretending to be the characters instead of them. So uh, that there may be a line somewhere in there that would be crossed. Um,
There was that Expeditions game that came out a while back, the Star Trek Expeditions. It's not
oh
on the shelf
yes,
anymore. But back when we played the collective the deck building game, that was TNG based, right? Or mostly?
it started TNG based. From what I understand, they've expanded. Uh,
Did they expand it to the new property?
I'm kind of I don't know that they have expanded into the new
Hmm.
reboot Trek. No, I know they expanded into other Trek show properties, but I don't think they've made it that far.
All right. Well, let's see. Any other speculation you want to do?
It's hard to say. I apparently I've lost words. So no, I don't know. I'd be interested to see if it's, being a new edition. If it's going to sit on the shoulders of the existing two editions and go from there, or if it's just going to progress and be its own new thing. It's been a while since we got a new card type. It would be interesting to see something like that.
But if you're going to streamline things, why would you go in that opposite direction? I mean, there's really no difference between an interrupt and an event, other than when you can play it. If you're going to streamline it, why don't you just make it a one card type and put order on all the events, and you know,
That's
uh,
true. That would actually be a useful streamlining.
um, someone said that equipment cards could just be events because really, you play them on the table and you don't have to carry them around and worry about this whole equip and non-equip nonsense. Um, I, I don't know. I kind of like equipment as a card type because it's something different and you can do things with it.
Yeah.
But
The more you streamline that, though, the more danger you get into things when you have nerfing, because then it's like, oh, this blows up any event, and now all of my cards are events, and that's why we started putting text on different card types for a while, so that it
sure,
wouldn't be blown
yeah,
up by that. Blowed up.
load up. Well, I'm guessing that would eliminate the last of like I said, the last of the loaded keywords. Um, all right. Well, what are you gonna do? We're still going to be putting cards together this weekend. So if you have any information, we'll pass it around the table and see. We'll report back on Monday. Um, there was in I guess old news. There was a update to the current rulings document.
Yes. A somewhat mysterious update.
Yeah. So law returns. It looks like this used to have the word commandeer in it, and they took that out. So that's fine. So it's no longer a commandeering thing.
Right. That's good.
There. Yeah.
And then a few other rulings, but I am not at liberty to discuss them. Why even say that?
Well, there is something for a Starfleet infiltration icon, which I do not believe exists on a card yet, so that's why they had to put it in the rules.
Okay.
And there is a romantic partner note. A person is the romantic partner of another personnel if the lore on either card names both the other and states that they are or were present or past, romantically involved. For example, Pell and Quark are romantic partners of one another, but Pell and Deputy Quark are not. Seen in lore. The following terms, even if produced by X, are considered equivalent to the phrase romantically involved. Husband, wife, mate, married, wedded, imzadi, mistress, widow, divorced. So,
Huh.
yeah.
Well, there are a lot of cards that have something like that on them. I know that was especially in Premiere.
Yeah, it's been around
There's a
forever,
lot of,
right?
yeah, a lot of romantically involved with that person and this person and that person, and I'm sure there's like 18 cards that mention Riker. Uh, but well, that must imply that something's going to happen to interact with that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, usually we get rulings after the fact, but this looks like a preemptive something. Um, and there was one other bit. No, that was it. So, interesting. I guess we could speculate about what that could possibly be. Again. Um, and yeah,
What if third edition is actually the new empowered version of triples? Because this should really all be about triples. I think third edition is triples.
well, it'd have to have a
That's
triple component, no
yeah.
doubt.
Maybe that's all it is. It's second edition adding triples. We're getting triples second edition.
That would certainly tie in the other one, which is expand your power in the universe. I would love to see triples expanded in second edition. Uh,
Exactly. Okay, now I'm excited.
yeah. All right. And with that, Charlie has agreed to join us.
Oh, we have
And
a. Oh.
yes. So Charlie, tell us about third edition.
Well, it's going to be exciting and probably never going to happen.
Well, why would you put that on the site if it's never going to happen?
So, some Google foo reveals that particular language in that particular sequence was used by Decipher when announcing second edition. Whereas expand your power in the universe was always the signature phrase of first edition. So it is not an announcement of third edition, but instead our art director's choice for the second edition quote for the little teaser graphic for the 20th anniversary set. Yay! Because 20th anniversary of first edition is this year. And taking a broader view of the game as, Star Trek CCG, not one edition versus the other. It's the 20th anniversary of Star Trek CCG in 2014, and we have worked long and hard to come up with something pretty fun to celebrate it. And it is not third edition. I won't, lie and say I've never thought about third edition. I have a folder on my desktop called third edition, if that opportunity ever presented itself, but it's not something that we need right now. And I think 1E and 2E are different enough and healthy enough that there isn't really any sort of need to create a new game to supplant them. That may change at some point in the future. The legal entanglements may become more clear, but we are not announcing third edition. But we have hinted at it, and we've pretty much said it's coming. But I will say sometime in the next week, check the website, because there will be more information. So.
Excellent.
All right. Well, that certainly means we've been talking for the last 20 minutes about irrelevant materials.
Well, I mean, I think it's an interesting conversation, and I definitely think, the community could have a conversation about what they would expect out of third edition, and both the first edition and second edition design teams could take something useful from that. You know, um,
I would say it's less irrelevant and more premature.
Fair enough. We'll go with that. All right. Well, in that case, sometime before the end of the week. Is that what you said?
within the next calendar. Well, that's not. Yeah, within the next week. But between now and 1 week from now, there will be more information.
So when we
Alright.
sit down to record again, we will have something else to talk about.
Yes.
Excellent.
I don't want to tip the hat too much because there's 1E and 2E brand managers now, and they can gang up on me and beat me up. I'll tell you. I
Over the
mean,
internet.
we did two. There's a 1E. I'll tell you this. There's a 1E product and a second edition product. There's no Tribbles product. If I had to do over, I would go back in time and do a Tribbles one too. But it's just one, and we're treating it as one thing. Kind of like when we did 15th anniversary. There was 1E got cards and 2E got cards, and then there was the shared thing. There is reprints for 2E and conversions for 1E. We're kind of treating it like that, in that it's called the 20th anniversary collection, but it's 2 expansions. There's one for first edition and one for second edition. So
They're not going to be numbered like promo cards again, are they?
no, it's going to be, they're going to be separate expansions.
Okay.
If you click on the 1E icon, it'll take you to the 1E page. If you click on the 2E icon, it'll be the 2E. It's basically 2 expansions with the same name, because we're sort of marketing it as one product, but it's two separate lists of cards. So
Can I ask a technical 1E question?
Sure.
Is it part block?
I don't know the answer to that question.
No, fair enough.
That is the last I knew. That was still being debated, because so I don't know the answer to that question. I need to find out soon, because I should probably put that in my intro article.
I was going to say, that seems like something that would be important, especially in the playtesting phase.
So it's going to be fun. I'm not going to, like I said, it's if you're very curious, let's see. I'll tell you that I was the lead for both projects, because we wanted them to. Okay. So we took an idea and built both expansions around it, and the idea was, to look through the game's history. So each version is a celebration of 20 years of Star Trek, and they both go from the same premise and then sort of go in a separate direction. So I was your lead designer for both products. The 1E team was very traditional. It was, we had a forum and design team, and we had meetings, and we made cards and did it like we usually do. The 2E side had a very non-traditional design and development process, which I will explain more of when the announcement article goes up. But each product is the same number of cards.
20?
No, it's not 20. It's not 20. That would have been very clever.
That would have been clever.
Hindsight. Where's my TARDIS? I'll go back and fix all these mistakes. But it's going to be. I mean, there are people who are going to, find things they like in it. There are always going to be people that are going to find things they don't like in it. But it's once we've explained what the theme is and how we approached it, I think everybody will be like, okay, that's cool. It's not an expansion in terms of like, 2E's Phase 2, where it's like, oh, we're doing Bajoran and Cardassian this time, or 1E's Block, where it's like, this is the Maquis set. It's very much this is the thing that we're doing. This is the premise, and then we made it from there. So it should be fun.
All right. Well,
Excellent.
we'll come back in a week and chat about it.
Yeah, mystery solved. And now
Mhm.
I'm looking at that icon, and I can totally see the 20 in the double X instead of the aforementioned hourglass.
Yep, it's actually really cool. That icon is.
Yeah, that's very, very cool with the chevron in the middle.
Mm, it's gonna look really cool. I'm just sad it doesn't appear in any of the 2E cards, but it'll be a neat thing to see. So.
All right. Well, we'll be back in a week then to discuss that. Rogue, you had mentioned about all the romantic partners for William T. Riker. The database has actually already been updated. I was looking through the forums. So you can go to a card, and you will find that Jean-Luc Picard has one more romantic partner than William T. Riker does, but neither
Wow.
has as many as Kira Nerys.
Well, I think that's sheer volume of cards.
Yeah. All right. Why don't we wrap it on that note then?
Indeed. Well, thank you for the additional intelligence, Chairman. We'll definitely look forward to some additional 20th anniversary news next week. In the meantime, I will move Hunter Pounce out of the way and look forward to some more 20th anniversary stuff next week. I am Sir Rogue.
And I'm Sir Dan.
And I'll remind you all to expand your power in the universe.
And I'll draw it in. Whee!